Hey folks, welcome back. I'm going to bring you along troubleshooting. We got some window issues with this 2000, it's 2001 or 2002 F350, and we are going to, walk through the issues that this one's having, and we're going to bring up schematic and all that kind of stuff, because this one's, it's not really unique. I don't see it as often as the problem that what we got going on here, but just a way to troubleshoot it and isolate it down to the particular area that you're looking for. That's kind of what this video's purpose is. So we're gonna just, like I said, I'm gonna bring you along, and let me show you what's going on here with this one. Okay, when we're in here with now we've got the key on, none of these windows operate. Neither do the door locks. Did not try any of the mirrors. They do not work either. Okay, door locks here. Then if you go over to here, obviously no windows here. Oh, we do have door locks though. All the door locks do work, so that's something to keep in mind here. What they're telling me is that all of this stuff does work as soon as you open the door. So then we're gonna go over here. We got passenger window. I can do all of them. So, and then also, now we can check our mirrors. We got power mirrors. They're not really working that great because they need to be replaced. They're just old, but they are I mean, the power's working, but obviously when you shut the door, nothing. But it does work. Like, I think I showed you this, right? It doesn't work, and then when you open the door, we're still not working. There we go. Had to push the door open a little bit farther. So it works there. Everything does work. So what does that basically tell me? That our problem is over here on this side, because it looks like there's probably a main power feed that comes in here and feeds all of this power, and it's got a broken wire, and most likely it's gonna be right in this area here. So that's what we're gonna start with there. Just wanted to go over all of this stuff here because a lot of times when people have issues with windows, and I see it a lot when you have a window other than the driver's side not working, a lot of people just pretty much they start with going and replacing that switch, and then some people even go so far as to replace the whole window motor, regulator, all that stuff in there, and find out it doesn't work, only to find out that you got a bad switch here. Because everything for all these windows all runs through this switch first, and we'll look at that as schematic, and we'll show you how all that works and why. The reason is because you got to have the control with this button right here. You got to have the control. See, I just pushed that a little bit farther, and now that window works. But at first I was pushing and it didn't. So that with the door wide open, everything does what it's supposed to do. And so. But yeah, you got to have the power to be able, to operate the windows from this switch. Therefore, the way the wiring has to be set up so that you can use this switch or the other switch when you're wanting to roll each individual window down. So anyways, yeah, let's keep going on that. We get a schematic brought up, and then we'll, that way we know, because we're going to point this out because we don't want to just basically just start tearing into this deal right now. Matter of fact, I shouldn't even be trying not to open this door much anymore. We don't want to lose where the problem is, and we don't want to, we can lose the power altogether. That's fine, because then I could just trace back, if we lose the power here where this doesn't work all the time, whether the door's open or shut, that's fine. What you don't want to have happen is you get this wire and all of a sudden it gets a better connection somehow or another, and you close the door and everything works. You open the door, everything works. You close the door, you tried many different things and you can't get it to act up again. Now you're just guessing at that point. So that's what we want to try to avoid. So we don't want to just start digging in here and moving a bunch of wires around like that, because we can inadvertently, quote unquote, fix the problem and have our symptom go away, but the problem's not fixed. So that's what we want to avoid. That's what we're going to get a schematic, and then we're going to get in here. We're probably going to have to remove this door panel. These are very easy to remove. And we're going to have to get in here. Probably going to have to get up, but it's most likely going to be right in this area. That's what we're going to target first, is any of this part right here where this hinges, and moves. The wires, all the wires move around here. You get a 20-year-old pickup. Sometimes they're just going to do that. Don't really see too many electrical issues like this with this generation of Super Duties, but every once in a while. So that's what we're making this video for. So anyways, let's get a schematic brought up and have a look-see at this system. We're going to just target the windows first, but we're also probably going to see exactly how the locks and the mirrors and all that stuff work too. It's got to be the same wire, or there could be a couple of wires and they're just both happening to do the same thing. It's just we lose 3 different things off of this deal right here. That way, that way we kind of know, it's pretty much wherever the main power is, and it has to do with this door being open or closed in different positions. It doesn't matter. Like right now, they'll work. Wrong button. But you get it right about here, and they don't work. See? The door went a little bit there's the stopper right here that kind of holds the door in this position. It doesn't work here, but just a little bit farther, and she does. So yeah, interesting problem. Let's go get to it and figure it out. All right, folks, we're gonna have a look at this schematic here. I've highlighted different power, where the power comes in, the ground also. There's a lot going on in here. I don't know if we're going to be going through all of it, but let's identify first what we have here. For what I know that this right here is the master window adjust switch. That's what they're calling, used to their terminology, window adjust. Well, I guess you're adjusting the window from open to close, half open, half, whatever you want to. So this is your master. It's got switches for everything here. Then over here, you've got passenger side window switch, right rear window switch, and left rear window switch. Now, this schematic's got a few extra things, like here a right window adjust switch for the excursion, for the vent window. I haven't worked on an excursion in a long time, done some engine work on them, but not any of this type of stuff, so I don't know. I think the rear windows or whatever, I don't know what this window adjust switch, what it does or anything like that. I'm not going to worry about that right now. We'll talk briefly about what I think's going on here, and most likely I kind of know what's going on here. I believe it says an instrument cluster microprocessor. I believe this is in the gem module, because the gem module on these Super Duties, and many other things, but we're talking about this thing right now, powers up and runs all that stuff, because that's kind of how you, like, if you can, when you have it running and you park and you shut it off, you look over and realize you're passing your windows down, you got a few minutes, you can just roll it up, hit the switch and close it, and then until you open the door, then it all goes dead pretty much. So that's pretty much how these things work. This is what I assume this is in, and so we've got power coming in through these 2 fuses. We're not going to go and check any of this type stuff. We may go over and check this fuse right here. We'll talk about that in a second. But we're not going to have any, most likely not going to have any fuse problems. We've got a wiring issue, but we're just going to go over this a little bit just to get an idea of how this works when this microprocessor comes on, whether it's you turn the key on in a certain position, whether it's in the accessory position or in the on position. It's going to do what it's going to do. However, obviously you've got power coming in on this side of a coil. This is kind of a relay. And then when it does what it's supposed to do, it closes this side off to ground. This side, obviously once that closes to ground, this should move over and close, and that will bring this power down over to here onto this side of this accessory relay, and then you've got what comes out of this side, goes back over to here and in here, and this is where I don't quite understand exactly how microprocessors work, but it basically provides a ground to that side to make this accessory relay click on, which in turn powers up this fuse number 65, 30 amp fuse, pretty big. If you have an excursion, you will also be powering up fuse 42, which is a 15 amp, and that's going to bring power like clear down here into this, you know, window adjust switch right here. I'll pause this for a second in case you actually are working on an excursion. I chopped off half of this. I could show it later. All you need to do is you really need to get this. You need to get on the Mitchell. Just Google Mitchell. I think Mitchell DIY or something like that. I'll get you the same thing. There's more to this schematic. You can actually blow it up bigger on a computer screen and all that stuff. It's a lot easier showing it here now. So once that fuse is powered up, what we've got here is a light blue / black wire that comes out of here, goes down in here, and this comes, you know, and a long way it's going to go through that rubber flex tubing, whatever you want to call it, into the door, because like I said, this is your master switch that sits right there on the door to run all your windows. So basically we've got power coming in. Doesn't really matter what, and I don't know everything that's going on here either. There's a lot going on here because essentially see, these are your other switches like we pointed out. When you get down into this part right here, really all these two wires go to is your motor. And really what you're doing is when you are going down with the window, so you push down on the switch, you are making one side of the motor a positive and the other side going to ground. Now to go back up with the same window, you push up, it now switches the polarity via all this, whichever switch you're running, and it has to do all of that type stuff because you're got the same two wires that go to the motor are going to do both, and you just switch the polarity and the motor goes the other direction, so the window goes the opposite way you just pushed it. So when you push it down, it goes one way, hit the up button, reverses the polarity on the motor. That's kind of what's all going on, and that's why this looks really confusing, and I don't know exactly how everything works, you know. But if you know, if we were tracing down, like say the window, one of these switches doesn't work, you can kind of bet, you know, that you could not really knowing all the theory of operation, you can pretty much, you know, try to figure out, okay, what's going on here. That way you can troubleshoot whether you've got a bad master switch, a bad individual switch here, or a motor in your window regulator or whatever. So as you can see, we've got, you know, like I said, we've got all this power, you know, coming over here. I assume that, I don't want to assume everything all the time, but I'm assuming we've got a problem right in here because everything quits working at the same time. If we had a break in this wire, which this is going to do the same thing, this is going to come out of the switch and it's going to go right back through that same area as this, well then you're most likely your passenger side window would not work, but your driver's side one might. But we lost everything. So does that mean I'm not quite understanding everything about this? Because I don't remember if this, you know, even if you're running the switch from this direction, it's still believe it's got to pass through these. So what we're going to do next is we're going to assume that we've got this light blue / black wire is going to be our problem. So that's going to be a wire that we're going to keep in mind and we're going to look for. So we're going to write it down on like a sticky note or something like that. Light blue, black wire. Tells you which deal that goes into, terminal number 6 or whatever. But well, you know, we're going to find that color wire. Now, sometimes these schematics are not quite exactly right. We're hoping this one is. We'll figure that out later. But the next step is to let's bring up a schematic for the power door locks and or the power mirrors, because you remember those lost power also. And we got to figure out, because your power door locks shouldn't be on this accessory relay, because they work no matter what, whether the vehicle's on or off and it's been sitting there for days. You can still, if you're already inside of it, I don't know why you'd be inside of it for days, but you can hit the lock button without opening anything and it should work. But because usually what I mean is, like, sometimes you open the door, that wakes things up. I don't think that's how this particular system works. So let's go ahead and do that power door locks, find out where and how does it get its power, because like I said, we want to study this whole system, because we don't want to go just start moving wires and checking this, just assuming that we got a bad wire here, because this is going to be most likely a different circuit than that power door locks. Is going to be a different system than this one here. Now, I do know that the power mirrors do operate when the vehicle's off as well. Namely because mine, I had a button get stuck, and it sat there and it ground the gear inside the mirror, just because the button was switched over. So if you leave them, always leave them in the center position. That way, if you get a problem like that, I had to get a new switch that I put in the door. So anyways, so yeah, this particular fuse and relay and all that kind of stuff should be in the fuse box underneath your driver kick panel, right where your knees go, because I don't know what year they did it, but in these 2002s, at least, I think it's just the 2002s, maybe some of the 2001s, but I know the 99s and 2000s have a box here, and it could just be the 99. I really can't remember. They all run together, but anyways, there was a fuse box out here. There's also fuses in here on those pickups, but these pretty much in the 2002s, like this one here, this is your fuse panel is going to be for everything. There's a couple of relays in those boxes there. One thing to take note of, that does work on this is obviously these dome lights just came on. That's just something to keep in the back burner. You want to kind of just, an idea that, okay, the dome lights came on. That all works through the gem module too, because if you happen to leave your door, open or on the first click, your dome lights, even if I close this now, that dome light's gonna stay on for a minute, two. I don't remember how long they last, but if you leave this where it doesn't click, or maybe on your first click or something, that dome light pretty much thinks this door's open. It's going to stay on, but it'll eventually turn itself off after a period of time, because you can leave this door wide open, walk up to it, your dome lights will be off and everything like that until you open another door and or close this door or turn the key on, whatever, you get the idea. Okay, let's get that other schematic brought up. Like I said, we don't want to just start moving wires around, because we don't want our problem to just all of a sudden get sort of fixed before we do too much messing around with stuff there. Losing our symptom and not actually fixing it. Not a good thing to do, because then it'll work for a while for the customer, and then it will be, you'll get a call back. We don't want to do that. So. Okay, this is a schematic for the power mirrors. Pretty simple setup here anyways. I just basically traced where the power goes in. It's going to go into the switch right here. Now, this doesn't really matter. We're not going to really discuss a lot of any of this. If you're having issues with your power mirrors, you're going to have to get this schematic, and there's more to it. I just saved paper because there's a little bit like this much, and it would go onto the next piece of paper. I don't know how to change that and make it do the back. We don't care. We're not worried about that. Anyways, this fuse number 13, this 10 amp fuse right here, that's, power going to go out of your central junction box, the fuse box I told you about, right behind your knee kick panel area right there, driver's side. So this is going to come, out. So I suspect, we could have multiple wires. That is not unheard of. That we could have multiple wires. I was assuming maybe that all of this stuff would be on one, but we could have multiple deals. But we are, talking about, everything's shared. So we're gonna kind of have to go after grounds is what we're gonna have to do. So basically I'm going to have to get the rest of this schematic because we can't see where this system grounds at. But the main thing is, everything is not shared with the power going in. So that's not the direction we're going to go with, because it's more unlikely that we've got all broken wires on the power door locks, the power mirrors, and the power windows, and have all the grounds intact. I mean, they could all be bad. They could all be definitely bad. That is possible, but it's more unlikely that we've got those three. At least one, I would think at least maybe if one out of those three systems worked when the other ones didn't, all right, but we're probably going to be chasing a ground problem after that. So now after just looking at this, I need to get the rest of this schematic. And then we do have this schematic right here for the power door locks, a little bit more complicated. They're calling this the vehicle security module. I don't think this is a separate module. I think this is integrated in all of it with the gem module. You get your OBD2 data, connected right here to this. You can connect straight to the gem module. But so anyways, we've got power coming in from your central junction box under the dash. We got fuse number 50, it's 15 amp. We got fuse 7, 17, and 19. All of these 4 fuses right here pretty much go into this vehicle security module. Now this could be a separate module. I just don't remember. I've not done anything with these. I've had a few issues with gem modules and stuff, mostly just with four-wheel drive, shift on the fly four-wheel drive systems that these have. But don't really see too many power windows and door lock issues with these things. So I've worked on a lot of them. So anyways, you can see where the power comes in. There's a terminal number 1, this red and black wire that's going to come out, and it's going to come from that fuse there. See, it's red and black wire, it matches there. These are all, here's another terminal number 3. Because this is why I think it's gem modules, because it's got your auto lamps and all of that headlight system and all that stuff. That all works off the gem module too, because I think you can leave the headlights on one of these, and it should turn them off too. I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. But obviously this has got your over here to the side. It's got your door ajar switches for each door. And it all sends into this module here, and it interprets what's going on. You get down into here, and these are the actual actuators. Like I said, there's more to this schematic, a little bit more too. So what we're going to have to do is also we're going to have to get the rest of this schematic, find out where. So here's a ground right here for these door ajar switches, and we'll have to look and see. What I didn't look also is obviously the door ajar switch does work, but does it work right when you open the door, or does it work when you get the door into that position? Now that's going to be a key of something we're going to need to know, because that could tell us, like this wire right here, you can see this is at the left C-pillar, so obviously it's not in the door, it's in the cab of the pickup. So this got to go through the door and into that same loom we were talking about. So could this wire be bad right here, and could this be the a shared ground? That's what most likely that's what we're gonna find is a ground wire that's broken or something or other. and it has something to do with the door opening and shutting, whether or not it makes connection or not. That's why none of these systems work, most likely. Like I said, there's other possibilities. We're going to figure it out and find it. So let's keep on going. Let's get the rest of these schematics and have a look, see about where all of this stuff grounds at. We do have, because you can see we got this right here, and this is back to the power windows deal. So we have this ground right here, you know, that makes this system work. You know, like I was explaining before, these switches do different things, and they're going to make each one of these wires that go down to the actuators do different things just by reversing the polarity using the same wire. But you still got to have an actual power, you got to have an actual ground, and here it is right here. And you can see that this says left C pillar too, or no, left C pillar also. It didn't say C pillar 2, but I don't want to confuse anybody. So that's, you know, and this right here, this is going to go in through the door through that wire loom also. And could this be the same wire? Could we have this connection right here? Could this have other, you know, this is that S501. We don't have it here. This pretty much denotes that we're going right back into, you know, right into these switches here, you know, because you got this ground going right into this door ajar switch. So let's have a look, see at that door ajar and see if that does anything. Okay, the dome lights are off, so all I'm gonna do is just barely click this door, and they come on immediately. So that, but that could be a separate deal, I don't know. It should work off the same switch. So let's get this, let's turn this truck on. And right now we've got a light here that's pretty much just all 4 doors, you know, so it is. So basically I've got the door mostly all the way closed, and it's working. As soon as I push the door, even just barely push the door. So we're not likely looking at that ground, so that could be a separate wire. But anyways, a lot of this stuff is just, you know, you're doing these little testing things, trying to figure out, you know, what's going on before we start digging into it and messing with it. It's pretty much what we're doing, you know. I mean, basically, we'll go ahead and pop this passenger door open. Same thing. So that all seems to be working like it's supposed to, and has no effect on what we've got going on with, you know, this particular problem. See, there we go. Okay, symptoms still there, that's good. You know, sometimes you have to do some moving around, but we just don't want to dig into that quite yet until we get a little bit better idea of what we're going after. So keep going. Okay, kind of figured out this printing these deals off, just the difference between printing it off and portrait and landscape. I can't believe I was that oblivious to that. Now I got this, this is the power door locks here. After studying this, and I got all the grounds, you know, even though I still traced where the power goes into, we're going to table the power off right now. I pretty much know exactly kind of where we're going to pinpoint the problem, where we're going to find it, based on our symptoms that we have. Let's follow this ground. So we just went and got done with testing these door ajar switches. Basically what you're doing is you're providing a ground to each one of these, whichever one these go to. This isn't labeled it, you know. One of them, this is going to be a front left door, or, you know, front passenger door, you know, next one down. You're just applying a ground to that. And so you've got this left C pillar, you know, G900 right here. But what we don't go is we don't go into a connector, that S501. Just remember that S501. S is in Sam, 501. That's what we're going to remember. We go in here, we go to S300 right here, and then you've got this right here, but then you've got this S501. But remember, this is a driver's side front door ajar switch. That's the one we played with the most. We didn't do any of these. So apparently this ground right here is basically getting where it needs to go, even through this connector. So that's not something we need to worry about right now, because we know that that's working no matter what position the door is in. It's when you get over here that I realized something, and the big importance of playing around with different things and trying different scenarios, as far as and when it's good to have a when intermittent problems kind of suck. We don't have an intermittent problem. Well, we do, per se. We just know where to make it work and all that, and that's the positioning of the door. Right now that's working good. We could lose that at any time. Well, I'd be okay with it being lost, like, completely broken. I just don't want it to fix itself temporarily. But look at this right here. So we've got our passenger side door lock switch and our driver's side door lock switch. Okay, so we got this G900 right here. Does that say that, or is that 900C? No, it's 900. Okay, left C pillar, same place as this ground right here. It's just I think it's a different wire. So we got a couple different wires going on here, and obviously we've got this ground right here going right up here to this switch 501. Oh, what's going on there? Now, you've also got this wire coming out here going into this S233 and this S639. Now, if you remember, you might not, we're going to do it again, that when we're operating the driver's side door lock switch, that door lock switch does not function until we get the door in the right position. But the passenger side door lock switch works no matter what position the door is in. Okay, sitting in here with the door closed, nothing. Now we got the truck off, keys are out. Not that that's a big deal. It's just, this system should work just like this. Now, this, you remember, operates. This one doesn't, until we get the door in the right position. Interesting. Now, without playing around and doing some actual troubleshooting and just making things work, we might not have known that. And really, that's going to kind of pinpoint our problem as being between this S501 and this ground right here. So we got a bad wire right here. That's pretty much what we've got going on. So we need to find out where this S501 connector is before we start tearing anything apart. We can use the Mitchell to do so, and we're going to go in there very carefully and figure out where, because it's got to be a plug somewhere. I mean, if you were to move the door, there's got to be a plug somewhere. I think. I mean, I never really removed a door before, but there's a way to do it. You can replace the door if you have to. So somewhere or another, there's got to be a connector, whether it's in the door or in near the kick panel or whatever, where that wire goes in to the where the C pillar comes down. So somewhere along there, that's where it's going to be, and that's where we need to go. Let's right quick go back to the power windows. Despite all of this, doing quite a bit of stuff, and how the power routes down through the switch and out here, your other switches and all that type stuff, you got one common thing right here. This G900 ground right here, left C pillar, S501. Makes a lot of sense now, doesn't it? You take this ground away between this S501 connector and this ground right here, this whole system's not going to work. You take this ground from this right here, this wire, you take that away at any point, at this S501 connector, this system's not going to work. Same with this. You take this wire and you break it open. However it does it, you know, in our case, it's doing it by opening and closing the door. Driver door lock switch is not going to function, but you have a different ground for your passenger side door lock switch, therefore it functions. So we pretty much pinpointed the problem before we really even tore into this thing. We got lucky that this symptom was this pronounced and actually did work, because you're not always going to get that luxury. But hopefully you were able to see through the thought process on all of this. You know, I started leading towards power until I started realizing about, you know, looking at the schematic, realizing what they share, you know, and that's why this ground being different and not going into that particular connector, at least as far as, you know, what the schematic says, that says S300. So that's different, you know, than this. It doesn't say. Now, could it go through that same connector? Yes, it could. It could be just a different wire. It could, you know, schematics. These schematics are not, you know, this is not an OEM schematic. So this is what somebody made based on an OEM schematic, and sometimes they're not always right. So, but anyways, we got that common theme going on right here. So let's go have a look-see at some more diagrams to figure out where this particular connector is, and then see if we can identify exactly where this ground goes. And then there's a couple other things we can do before we really tear into it to confirm what we're talking about here, and that's using a test light on the switch in the driver door, because it's really easy to pull that switch up and out of there, and we can test and find out what we're losing. And most likely we're going to be losing that ground. Most likely power is going to remain constant whether or not the door is open or closed. So let's just keep going. Okay, so we got back in here to on this Mitchell eautorepair.net. That's what we've been using here. I like this particular program, and I've pretty much switched over, not really having a, let's not even get into that. Okay, so this is a breakdown of where, like, you know, you can scroll through here and find out, you know, where switches are at. You got solenoid and solenoid valves, you know, like basically, you know, it's just an example, you know, finding this vacuum hub lock solenoid in the right side of the engine compartment near the starter relay. It's this guy right here. So yeah, you know, scroll down here to switches, you know, like where's the seatbelt switch? In the driver's side seatbelt buckle. Obvious. These things only have just a seatbelt for the driver. They do not care whether your passengers wear the seatbelt or not. Miscellaneous, different things here. We got connectors. Now, this is where I was a little bit wrong with the terminology, you know, and how these things are labeled. You see that these all start with a C, and then you get down here to, here's grounds. So you remember we had that G900 right here, and it just says it's at left C pillar. So it doesn't exactly give you any, you know, more information than that. Sometimes you'll have a figure and it'll kind of show you where that's at. We don't have that option there. We'll just have to find it in the C pillar somewhere there. Splices. Remember that S501, I believe it was. S501. So you scroll all the way down here to splices. I'll pause it for a second until I find it. Alright, so here we got it. We got this S501 all the way across here. Where is it? It is in the driver's door. See that? We pretty much identified I believe, where our exact problem is. We just have to prove it, but we will do so. You know, without me taking a time to do all the, you know, preparation, filming, and doing all this kind of stuff, you know, I'd probably be at this about a half an hour or so, and I'd probably come up with exactly where we're at now. One thing about doing the video like this is just kind of helps me think out loud a little bit. That's how my thought process works. I'm not perfect. Could there be a better, faster way to do it? Oh, of course. Yeah, anybody could come up with a better, faster way. So obviously there's smarter people than me, you know, that design this stuff in the first place. They're not always got the common sense about where to put things. That's a whole nother story. So anyways, the only thing we're going to do next is we are going to test these grounds at their prospective switches. So we're going to test grounds on this switch right here. And also we're going to, you know, verify that our power stays constant. We think that it will. In each one of these. This is the power door locks, if you remember. So then we're going to go here right quick, and you know, we'll test power input on here right quick since it's quick enough to do so. And then we will use a test light, and we will test this ground, find out if we're losing it with which position of the door. And then we'll come back in here, and we'll also verify this. You know, we're not going to worry about this right now because that's all in the other doors. We're just going to worry about this for a second, and mostly worry about this right here because we're going to test this ground right there. So let's go get that done. All right, brought our schematics, test light, come over here, just pop this off towards the front, kind of pull it out, see that tab right there, and it just kind of rolls out of here like this. So let's start with the easiest one to get to, which is the power mirror switch, which is this guy right here. And we're going to find a black wire that goes into pin number 5 on this deal. I don't know if these are actually, no, they are actually numbered. You probably won't be able to see it on camera, but there's a number right there. You can see this black wire right here. So actually, never mind. What we're going to do is we're going to prove our theory about it not being the power, and then we're going to go to the ground. So what we're going to do is we're going to find this orange and light green wire going into pin number 1. So we have an orange and light green right here. So we get pin number 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it starts 5, and then it ends over here at 8. So we've got 8 wires or 8 terminals in here. So that's our power right there. So what we're going to do, hook the test light up to a different ground. We're just going to go straight to the battery actually. Okay, so we got our test light lead hooked up over there on the battery negative on that left battery there. And then we're going to stick it right in here. And you see we got power. And I'm kind of, you know, nothing's changing. So let's go on the same plug right here. And the only thing different we're going to do is, hopefully this test light can stay right there. And we're going to hook our test light, instead of on the battery negative, we're going to go right over here to battery positive. I'm going to need more slack. Okay, so hooked on battery positive now, and I kind of just looped. I mean, I don't, you know, a jumper wire would actually work good for this too, but I just kind of wrap this around so that when we tug on this, it more or less just pulls right here rather than pulling on that. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to take our test light and put it on that black wire in pin number 5, and then we're going to just open the door. Boom. Right there. Right there is our position where we're losing it. Okay, that confirms that. Okay, so what we did was we basically proved this this splice, this S501, that we've got a problem in between here and here because we went to a different ground and provided, you know, and we lost it. So what we need to do, or actually what we're going to do, is we're just going to do this same deal here with the power windows. Once that once we kind of confirm this deal right here. See, that's your splice 501 right there. You know, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna find on the switch here, we're gonna go to pin I think that says 2, and it's also a black wire, so that should be this one right here. It's kind of, I'm just assuming, because there's no black wire in this right here. These are probably all the wires that are going out to the other windows. These are probably the wires having your inputs and outputs coming into here. You can see that we got a black wire right there, so we can do the same thing that we did. So I'm going to switch my position here. Okay, we're leaving the test light hooked up to the battery positive, and coming in here on this black wire, and there we go. Right there, same exact spot. Okay, that's why the power windows don't work. All right, then just, you know, to prove that our power is good, we're gonna go and put this back on the negative here. Okay, got this light blue and black wire coming in on pin number 5. Now you can also see right here, you also have another pin number 5. Well, that's the other connector. You can see that that pin number 5 is a yellow and light blue, which you have that yellow and white blue right there in the middle. So you're looking at the same exact, we have a light blue and black, so that's what we're looking for as far as the wire goes. You can see it, you know, it's a different pin configuration because this one has like 8 terminals, whereas this one only has 6. But you can see that light blue and black wire right there. So what we should have is, with the door, this is a door mostly closed, we should be able to get in here and get our power, which I'm not getting on it, obviously. Well, duh, we need the key on for this particular problem. Keys are over there and I can't reach them. Hi, that works a little better, but you can see, does not change, not like the ground did. So we know that we've got good power coming in right here, that it's not here, that our shared ground, and like we theorized before, we pretty much just proved that it's actually happening. We haven't found out where the exact problem is, but we proved and we know what's going on. And we can do the power door locks, but right now there's no point in that. I mean, I guess we can. Let's do it right quick. Okay, we got 2 black wires coming in at pins 1 and 4. And you can see we got one right here and the other one clear over here. So 1 and 4. So if we take, well, we got our lead back on positive, battery positive right there. So come over here. We don't have anything, and boom, there. Yep. And we can do the same thing with the other wire. We're going to get the same exact result. And right there. So we proved our problem. Now we got to get in here and fix it, find it, fix it. So let's get in here. We're going to get this door panel removed, start trying to check out some of this wiring, trying to figure out where and how. We're going to get in here. We're going to find that, try to find that ground that they're talking about in the C-pillar, because I don't know if it's going to be down in here, or up. I doubt it's going to be up here, but you know, some of this will come off, some of that, you know, we might have to even take this kick panel off of here. I'll let you know about all that when I come to it. Like I said, these are really easy door panels to remove. You got a screw here, unplug all of these because these wires are going to stay. but you don't want to, you know, fish this through this hole. I guess you can. I don't know. I don't like to, but and you pop this deal off here with a screwdriver. There's another screw in there, 7mm heads, both of these, and then just kind of pull up on this, and it comes out. This stays. So get that done. Keep on going. Okay, so we got all these wires. You know, they kind of snake down and go there, but we've got a few wires. You know, they pretty much, this is what they do. They go along here. You can kind of see it just exactly like this. You can feel it behind there. That's not what we're after. After where it goes up into here and goes right up in there. So we need to get this speaker off of here. I don't remember what size these are. I'll go grab it and get it off. 7/32 or whatever seems to fit it pretty good. Yeah, that's what it was. And then this can just come off of here and come up here and just kind of the magnet back there. You can kind of just stick it right there. So this is going to be the challenging part right here, is we're going to have to get in here and figure out, you know, which one of these wires is, and it's going to be a black wire. We're going to figure out, you know, which one it is that's broken. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to get right up in here and try to figure out, you know, where might this C-pillar ground be, and go from there. Okay, so sometimes a person, well, me, might forget their automobile terminology. This isn't the A pillar, I mean the C pillar. This is the A pillar, B pillar, and C pillar. So somewhere back in here. So we're going to kind of, really not going to worry about where that ground is back there. If it was up here, maybe. But if it says C pillar, I mean, that's, I would assume it's got to be somewhere there, which it is possible because you have these wires coming down, running along here. Now, to get this off, these are just pull up out of there and clip in, you know, like that piece and that piece there. They just pull and clip. You know, this thing just pulls out with the clips also. I was just kind of looking in here to see what I can see. But like I said, we're not going to worry about anything back here because everything pretty much has to do with this door moving in and out. Our problems is between here and here. We just got to find the right wire, find the problem, try to fix it. What we can also do is see what happens. You know, most likely, you know, this is still attached right here good. It's pretty solid there. You move this, and I don't see, it's really hard to see on camera, but I don't see any movement of wires there. Where we get the movement is right in here. So what we need to do is get this boot pulled back. Now this won't really come off. We're going to pull it out of its little, you know, you can kind of get it out like this, and then we're going to get in here and look around for that black wire, which should be like, could be this one, you know, because when it comes down, when it comes through here, really shouldn't be spliced yet, I wouldn't think, but it could be, I guess. But somewhere in here it's probably going to be spliced, like in this area right here, whereas we're talking about, you know, but it could be here. But all these could go back. Who knows where that splice is? It doesn't say where it is. It just says it's in the driver door. So it's from this point out here somewhere is where that splice, that 501. So most likely, you know, but just based on the symptom, it's got to be like right in here. Okay, now, you know, pretty much we're going to have to get this pulled back away. We're going to get this tape job off of here. That'll come out, you know, it's just this part right here. We're going to have to get it pushed kind of up as much as we can. May have to pull this little clip off of here to feed some of this wire through here so we can have a look-see at it best we can. Now that we've done all that we've done, you know, to pinpoint, you know, where our problem is, and pretty much, you know, kind of proved it and everything, you know, now it's okay to, you don't have to start digging in and moving wires and stuff. And even just this right here, this could totally have changed our symptom. Our symptom could be you know, all the time now, or it could be this never, acts up again. But at least now we know what wire we're dealing with, and most likely what we're going to end up having to do if we don't actually find the actual break, which is I hope what we can do, is run a new wire through here and connect it from one end here to the other end where it goes into. I hope we don't have to do that, but we may have to. You never know. That's the way this stuff goes sometimes. So anyways, like I said, we can get this clip off here, get a little bit more of this fed through, get it kind of apart, find out if we can figure out where this wire is broken. And it's not completely broken, obviously, because you put the door in this open position, it works. So it's not completely broken. So we may find it, we may not. We're gonna try. Okay, as I was kind of digging and pushing this back off again, and I got a lot of this tape off of here, that all of a sudden I went to like separate these, then this pulled out. So this is hopefully what you actually want to find. So with this pulled completely out like that, we should have our symptom pretty much like not working at all now. Yeah, pretty much as I suspected. With the door open now, no mirrors, no locks, and no windows. Nothing. No matter which way I put this door, we get nothing. So what we're going to do right quick, just to prove this, is we're just going to run a jumper wire over here to a ground or something like that, just to prove that's going to work. Okay, got this hooked over here just to a regular ground bolt right in there somewhere. Yeah, you can see it right there. And now we'll just test this mirror. Obviously the mirror doesn't really work. That kind of does. Mirrors need to be replaced, but we got power there, and our door locks work. And I know for sure our windows will work. I think I have something in the way of the window, but yeah, anyways, that one wasn't wanting to come up, but they're all working now with that ground right there. Once you take this away, then nothing works anymore. So that's a confirmed find and fix. We haven't fixed it obviously, but that's a confirmed find. We just need to find the other half of this wire. We'll just solder it back together with some shrink tubing, I think. Is that how I'm probably going to fix this? What you can kind of do, and I'm going to do, stick this back, in here, and then I'm going to peel this away from this side. Then I'm going to kind of stuff it into this hole and just bring this whole thing down into this door, so that I can get to somewhere, because like you can see how long this wire is, and it pretty much reaches right about there. So the other half of that wire should be in here somewhere. Where's it at? Right at this bend. And by pulling this off of here, we can then check all the rest of the wires and find out what they look like. Because if this one's broken right here, chances are there could be some other ones too. So okay, just right quick, did we have to do this step with the jumper wire, when we kind of already knew based on the test light thing and all that stuff? No, not really, but it's just one more thing to prove it. The more thorough you are with stuff, better off, you're going to do a better job fixing stuff. So I try to be as thorough as I can. And so anyways, in here we got this, I pulled this thing down in here, so now we've got this half of the wire that we were able to see before. Here's the other half of the wire. Now if we get us a light in here, hopefully we can see. There was right here is another one that's broken. This is what they do. Insulation is just old and brittle, so what that does, the insulation breaks, and then it just keeps wiggling and wiggling and wiggling. Pretty soon it just breaks to a point. This was still Probably had like one strand touching. You can see how it's just, you know, it's done that just over the years. Well, there's another one right there, another wire. So we need to fix these, and it's mostly these big wires, it looks like. Yeah, these bigger, you know, 14 gauge wires. These other 16 or so gauge is not really showing any signs of having any issues. Even this one right here is a bigger one, but it's not showing any issues in the same place. But we've pretty much looked at all of this like this, and we found these other two wires here that need to be fixed, and I'm going to double check this even a lot closer. There's another one. I don't think we saw that blue one before. There's one there. So we have this blue wire, and we got this tan and pink. Now this is the power wire, if I recall correctly, for the power windows. Light blue and black. No, that is not. I was wrong. Don't know what that wire does for sure. Yeah, don't know for sure what that wire does. Thought maybe it was, which means that, you know, once that one breaks, then you would have no power windows, but that's not the right wire. So anyways, yeah, so we can, you know, the nice thing about being as thorough as I did with troubleshooting and thorough as I did with all the, you know, there's a 99% chance that this pickup is not going to come back for this exact same problem. So power windows might quit working because of a switch, another part of the wire, the gem module, but it ain't going to come back because of this problem. And then because we got in here, we might as well just fix this. We might as well just fix, you know, obviously we definitely need to fix these other three wires that we found here. So far a total of 3. I think this other blue, yep, this blue wire right here, there's 3 right there. 1, 2, 3. So you got 1 right here by my thumb, and then 2, and then 3. So yeah, get all those fixed, and then we could slip our boot, you know, back in place how everything was supposed to go, put it together, double check, make sure everything works, you know, and then we'll talk about a little bit couple of other theories, like if you've got a different problem than what I've got here, you know, you just have to use these schematics just exactly how we used them. You just have to use them a different way, find out exactly what's going on and how. And basically just by pinpointing the fact that this lock switch did not work, but that one did, and that all the rest of these windows, every window didn't work, whether it was from those switches or this main master switch, that pretty much identified and figured out where we needed to look by looking here and finding out the grounds. Now, did we find that splice? No, it's in here somewhere, in this wiring loom somewhere. But I told you that we had a break in the wire before this S501 and your ground. So somewhere between here, this splice and right here, and we found it. So remember, the computer told us that S501 was in the driver door. It's probably in here somewhere, right along this line here. So did we find it? No, didn't need to. No, we found our problem. So let's just keep going. All right, so we got that first wire fixed. Obviously now we're in here with the door shut, and we got that functioning. Turn our key back, and we got windows. Better not roll that one too far. I got my cord running through there for my light. Anyways, mirrors working, all that stuff with the door closed or open. Okay, so this is what we got. Actually, you know, you remember that brake was back here. So in here, I'm not going to be able to show this with the camera because there's no way to see it. But back in here, this is all a new wire. So a lot of times you typically want to do, you know, less types of splices or anything like that together. But in this case, I just wanted a new wire right where this would bend. So anywhere in this area right here, this is the area, obviously you can see you've got a break there in that wire, and then we got this break that's all pretty much right here. So I don't want my splice or anything like that to be right here, even though I could have put it right here. You know, here's the section of the old wire that I took out. You know, it's just real stiff, brittle, and everything. So anyways, that's what we did. So I got this exact same connection, you know, back in here, and then when we put this, you know, boot back in its place, you know, it's obviously going to cover all of that, but then we're going to have this, we're going to fix these other 3 wires in here, including this blue one. This other one we can't see. So obviously I don't have the striped wire or anything like that, so I'm just going to get the colors, you know, pretty much close to what they are. And these are 14 gauge wire. These other smaller ones I think are like 16s, or there could be a few even, or no, excuse me, these are 12 gauge wires. These are this is probably a 14, this blue one here, but not a huge deal. So yeah, we're gonna get that all fixed, but you know, got the problem taken care of with the windows. We're just gonna fix these other wires because we know that's gonna be a problem in the not too long of a future. Who knows how long, you know, once the insulation breaks, you know, that's where it's going to sit there and work at that spot right there, and then it's going to eventually just, you know, if you work it back and forth enough. Now this could take years. It took years to do this, 20 years, but it could take, you know, another few years, you know, especially being the driver door, the one that gets open more times than any other doors. You know, it's going to do it. It's going to do it eventually, so we want to fix it. The other thing too, well, anyway, sorry, I lost track what I was actually gonna say right there. Maybe we'll get back to it. So anyways, let's get these other wires fixed and we'll get this thing put back together, and then we'll finalize theory and all that kind of stuff more so after it's all done. Okay, so we got all 4 of these wires that we found bad fixed. This one ended up being a little bit long. We're gonna do is just wrap some black tape around all of this, and you know, the pivot point's going to be about right here. So you know, this is where all the new wire is, and it goes into, I don't know, about that much farther back in there. So hopefully it was all right in this area. We've got new wire here. You know, some people might be wondering, why didn't you fix every single one of them? Do that? Well, that's going to take me a whole nother, could take me a couple hours to do that. You know, I mean, it's not as easy as a person thinks, you know, getting into this area. You know, I can't rewire this whole entire pickup. And that brings me to what I was going to get to with my thought that I lost track of before. Why didn't the first thing I do just, you know, I mean, you know, it's obvious we knew where the problem was, and, you know, I could have said 10 minutes or whatever, we could have, you know, just got in here and found it. And yeah, you could have, if it's your own car, all the power to you. Me as a shop owner, I can't just, you know, go in where I think a problem might be and just start ripping things away. Because what if I don't find anything obvious? Wires don't always break obvious like what we found. Sometimes you can have a wire look perfectly normal on the outside and the strands are broken on the inside, and there's an open connection at certain points depending on how much is running through that particular wire and how hot it gets. I'm serious, that's exactly how stuff happens. So, you know, yeah, 10 minutes you could have, you know, got in here, could have got this all tore apart, you didn't even have to take this off or whatever. I mean, you could have got in here and been like, oh, okay, yeah, I know, here's the problem, and we found it in 10 minutes and away you go. But there's always that chance of what if you didn't find anything obvious. Then what do? You don't know. You know, if you didn't look at the schematics and study them and study all the different things we did, all the sequences, finding out like that this lock switch worked, whereas the passenger one, or this lock didn't work, whereas the passenger one did when we had our problem symptoms show up. You know, if we didn't go around and do any of that kind of stuff, we would have known even what wire we were looking at, you know, out of any of these. You could assume, but you know, as you can see, there's quite a few wires in here. And yeah, that would probably take me a couple hours to just go and do every one of these, but I've checked these wires as good as I can. And it's just going to have to be what it is. If we get another problem down the road, well, we'll just have to get back in here and fix it again. Like I said, I can't rewire this whole entire pickup. You know, there's new harnesses and all that kind of stuff a person can get, you know, if you want to buy all this harness, and, you know, if you can find it, or I don't know if it's available or not. But this is going to work pretty good. We're going to wrap some tape around this, get this boot back in place, and, you know, and our problem is fixed and should be fixed for quite a number of years. It's not indefinite, but quite a number of years. I just know 100% that this pickup's not going to come back in the next, not even the next 6 months to a year. It is not coming back for this particular problem that it had. Now, can we have other problems? Yes. Can we have other wiring issues in here? Yes. Anywhere in here, all the way up to the battery? Yes. We could have those problems arise, but it's not going to be this problem that we found. And so that's why we go through what we go through as far as troubleshooting steps and taking the time to get a hold of the proper information, aka wiring schematics, and going through the different procedures. And now, we know we didn't go through like a troubleshooting flowchart type of thing. We basically just had to go off the, you know, what we thought about the theory of operation, check your inputs and outputs. We had 3 failed things: locks, windows, mirrors. So what do they all have in common? Ground wire. That's what they all had in common. So could we have found something different? Yes, we could have. Could have found all bad wires, you know, as far as all the power inputs going into each one of these deals. Yeah, it's possible. But we pretty much isolated the problem, you know, even before we even took anything apart. We isolated the problem, and then we came and we took this off, and we proved our theory by checking the grounds, and we lose it. And then we further proved it by coming back in here and finding the actual broken wire. So anyways, okay, so we got that all fixed up. Everything works great. And I'm going to do another video with this pickup. Apparently this thing's got an intermittent starting issue, so we're gonna that'll be a whole separate video and everything like that. I guess it's a cranking issue or something like that. Like, and it's, you know, once it gets started and it's kind of warmed up, it pretty much will start every time after that, until it sits around for a while. So I'm not really sure what we're going to find there, but we're going to get all of our testing equipment set up and go through theory of operation and schematics to you know, get how to get everything what we need to get set up so that we can pinpoint what's not happening right at first, because we may lose the you know, we may get this thing to crank and start, and then all of a sudden we might lose the symptom. And so we want to be able to figure out what it is actually that's doing it. Same thing we figured out with the window. Want to figure out what's actually the problem and find and fix that. So anyways, stick around for that one. Be on the same pickup, and we'll be uploading that tomorrow or the next day. So anyways, thanks for watching.